Hi everyone, welcome back to our Friday YouTube live. I know it's been a while, but now that we are here today, there are so many exciting things that we are going to be discussing. And guess what? We have with us serial entrepreneur and tech veteran Christopher Louis Tsu, who is the current CEO of the Venom Foundation. So, if you have heard about this term that blockchain adoption will take place slowly and then all at once, then this is probably something that has come from Christopher. He has quoted this in some of his interviews, and he is actually a firm believer in the concept. So, without further ado, we will go to him. But before that, I just want to talk about Venom a little bit. So, Venom Foundation is a decentralized network as usual, and it's a scalable system. It's actually addressed to contain the issues of scalability and transaction speed of blockchain and other existing deficiencies that blockchains have. And this is also a layer zero blockchain, which means that projects can be built on top of this. It was built by a community of developers in 2018, and since then it has come a long way. More about that from Christopher himself. Over to you, Christopher. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you very much for your time today, and hello to everybody in India. I am Christopher Louis Tsu, and CEO of Venom Foundation, and I've been in business now for quite some time, actually. Started off in the 1980s with some big companies like Apple Computer, where I was in the software duplication department, Texas Instruments, where I was designing silicon chips. This was back in the 80s. And then essentially, as you said, from the 1990s onwards, I've been a serial entrepreneur, and I have founded and built several companies up until today. Here we are at Venom Foundation.
What was your first, rendezvous with crypto? When did you first come across crypto as a concept? And what did you think about it? What do you think about the Bitcoin white paper?
My first encounter with crypto was in 2017, and so many years ago. And I actually thought it was a scam. I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
how the heck could this thing possibly bring any value to humanity? And it took me a number of years to read through Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper and also understand where blockchain was going and what was it doing. And then a light bulb came on in my head, and I said, this is definitely something worth following. I invested significantly into crypto starting from 2018 onwards. And
Okay.
I remember telling all my friends, come on, this is the way to go. And they're like, no, this is no good.
Uh-huh.
And here we are today. I'm still holding that flag, and now I have a lot more conviction than I had back in those days, because conviction comes with information.
Right. So I think you've also said that in one of your interviews that it's no longer a bubble which is backed by thin air. It's actually pretty substantial. There are real world use cases being built on it. Now we're talking about building like actual projects rather than just building assets for transaction or using this as a store of value. So why don't you tell us a little bit about when this thought came to your head when you talked about not believing in the concept of crypto. From there you went on to investing, then you started building, and now you are a CEO in this space. So how has the whole journey been for you?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. If I may just give you a little bit of background context so you
Yes.
can understand what's going on in my head. When I say that I'm a serial entrepreneur and I built several companies, I literally invented a number of different products, manufacturing processes, designed financial models, set up the shipping and logistics, and I have shipped hundreds of millions of products into households worldwide that are being used by people today. So, and I'm not talking about an app on a phone that changes color. I'm talking about maybe a digital set-top box or satellite receiver products or silicon chips or even medical dental devices. So I understand how to scale business and bring value to people, set up all the structure that's required, not just technical, but also the commercial, customer service. And so with Venom, once I saw that finally we have a layer one, layer zero blockchain that can scale globally, I sat down with the team and I said, we can take this to the world and bring value to a lot of countries that need this value and actually bring financial products and other kinds of decentralized products into the world marketplace as products, not just as concepts or as games, but actually as real products. So that's
Right.
it. All started from that background.
And I think when you were ideating, you also maybe somehow you envisioned a whole decentralized future for not just the tech ecosystem, but also day to day products and day to day interactions that people have on the internet. So, what we right now are referring to as Web3. So, what was your idea of DeFi initially, and how has that changed, or even if it has remained the same, how has that whole process been?
My initial idea was, let's get rid of the middleman and let's reduce costs. So you have a direct transaction between somebody who wants something and somebody who wants to pay for it. And right now, today, you have a lot of different middlemen in between. Amazon did a fantastic job in reducing the middleman's costs. And of course, DeFi is an extension of this concept where you can actually make a transaction and it's going to be decentralized. You don't have a central authority in between. So my first thought, because of the financial background I have from nearly 40 years being in business, is if we could take settlement and clearing time from T3 down to T0. In other words,
Right.
instead of 3 days or 5 days of settlement, we have it at 0 days of settlement. We're already wiping out hundreds of billions of dollars that get wasted just in that particular process. And we reduce counterparty risk at the same time. And I feel that this can affect not just a transaction of finance dollars to dollars, but it can be when people are doing commodities, when people are exchanging one product for another product, and it's going to enhance trade for a lot of countries and areas that now are actually suffering because of the different intermediaries that they have to go through.
Right. So I think the part about intermediaries is also important because in blockchain as well, I think the whole true decentralization as a concept is something that everyone is vying for. And in order for that to be achievable, I think one of the things that people are also talking about, in addition to TPS, scalability, is interoperability, right? Because interoperability is another important factor that a lot of traditional blockchains are now trying to solve, but it's been a while since they have existed, and only now it is that it's coming to their attention. So, how will you say Venom is addressing the interoperability concept in DeFi?
It was one of the key things which attracted me to the Venom protocol. We have a protocol called mesh networks. And
Right.
mesh networks, you can look at them as almost neurons in a brain that can interconnect with each other through synaptic connections. And you're right, the world doesn't operate in isolation as an island. We have to communicate and we have to constantly trade with each other through lines which are internationally recognized. And Venom has a protocol which allows decentralization to scale without reducing the costs, without increasing the cost or reducing the speed. It can scale. And it can do this in a cellular-like fashion through mesh networks. And interoperability is key to being able to spread this technology globally so that people don't have to think about, well, what protocol should I use to communicate with this person, or what kind of communication channel should I use with this other person. So we have very, very good technology for interchain and inter-blockchain communication.
Perfect. And I was also reading up a few of these use cases that you are already working on and aspiring as well. And that is actually my next question, that when you talk about real world use cases with blockchain technology, I think one of the things that you had mentioned is tying up directly with countries and different governments for them to also ease into blockchain adoption using Venom. And that is actually pretty fascinating. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, and also talk about some existing use cases that is already there?
I have to say, congratulations, you've done your research very well.
Oh,
It's true.
It was
It
pretty
is,
interesting, actually. I was
yeah,
reading up, and it was very nice. Yeah.
yeah. This, I mean, like, I don't talk about this in public that much. We
Okay.
do a lot of background work. We're
Mm-hmm.
talking to central banks, we're talking to governments. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of countries who understand that they need to move towards blockchain. And what we do at Venom is we say we have infrastructure, we will give you the infrastructure, you can build on top. And I can give you an example of a real life case right now. If I take my wallet
Uh-huh.
and fish out one of my cards, I'm not sure if you audience can see this, but
Yeah, it's
this is
visible. It's Venom
it's,
card. Yeah.
it's a Venom card, and this is actually acts like a credit card for payment systems, but it's on blockchain. So inside the card, you have the private key and you
Oh,
have the
okay.
public key, and it has near field communication NFC, just like that. You can tap it on a phone, and it will give you the balance. Open up your wallet and give you the balance on your address, and you can send and receive money through the blockchain.
Uh-huh.
And again, instantaneous settlement, and it has multiple different applications. The phone itself can become a point of sales terminal. So you don't have to go and buy a whole bunch of infrastructure and spend a lot of money to be a merchant. You can just say, okay, my phone, I'm now a point of sale terminal.
Perfect.
So this is one example. Another example would be we were in Africa talking about tokenization of real world assets, where the government, they want to raise capital for an infrastructure project. It could be a highway or a bridge, but they want their citizens to participate in this so
Mm-hmm.
they can invest their savings instead of gambling it on silly things. They can say,
Yeah.
I will participate in this. And so it's like staking, and they get a piece of this action. And through tokenization, because it's fractionalized down to very small quantities, they can simply, from their wallet, stake directly into these kinds of projects. So these are the sorts of real life projects that we're working on at sovereign level and talking to people about. And that's what gets me up in the morning and makes me very excited to be working for Venom.
Wow, that's interesting. Talking about a nation, what potential do you see in India? It's a little, I mean, not related to Venom, but in terms of blockchain's future, or the kind of products that Indian developers are aspiring to build. What do you see? Where do you see India in like 5 years in terms of blockchain adoption, as well as building products out of blockchain?
Well, India is extremely advanced in terms of technology. You've always been on the cutting edge, like mobile phone technology. You were there ahead of many other people. You have very strong development community, and of course, it's a huge country. So straight away, just to be present on your exchange in India is a gift, because it means we have access to liquidity and a lot of different users in your
Yeah.
country. And then if people want to build on us, for example, with this system here, we could set up remittance corridors. I think there's something like $110 billion worth of remittances which get remitted back into India from foreign workers every year. And I believe that 18% of these remittances are coming out of the UAE. So right there's like several billions dollars worth of flows. And on
Yeah.
these remittance flows, they're probably paying somewhere between 5 and 9% of fees. And of course, with a card system, those fees go down to like 1% would be the spread for everybody. So there's opportunities for cross-border transactions straight away is what I can see. And because of our mesh network technology, that list goes on and on. So we'll
Right.
be very, very excited to work with India in whatever capacity we are offered.
That's amazing. Actually, we have a number of developers who are super enthusiastic about building on blockchain, and so we have what you call Telegram communities, where people keep chatting about different opportunities, different networks to build on. And I know that Venum also has a great community, project. They have some systems where they engage with the teams. They have something for developers as well. So I want to talk a little bit about that, so that our listeners can also know what sort of potential they have when it comes to building on Venum blockchain, and also being a community member of Venum blockchain.
Yes, for community members and for people who want to build on us, we have a system of grants where we invest into projects or we co-invest into projects that have good potential. And the other thing that is, I think, different is that we are, you mentioned, talking about having fun, right? I mean, this used to be an old saying back in the day when I was talking to people about Bitcoin and like, no, I don't want to do that. And then we would say to them, have fun staying poor, right? But now we're translating this in Venom language, which is have fun making money.
Oh,
And we are encouraging projects to come, and it's not just to play games, but it's to make money, build correct
right.
businesses. Because we've got very low transaction, very low gas fees. We have a network. When you look at the white paper of Venom, you'll understand that the way our network operates is very flexible. You can do a lot of things that you can't do on the older type of monolithic blockchains. And we want the applications that build on top of us to make money on transaction fees, to add value, and we will come up and help them with their business plans so we can share revenue. So
Oh, okay.
we make no mistake. Venom Foundation, of course, is a nonprofit organization, but everything that is on the Venom network, this ecosystem, we've put all different types of products in there, the bridges, exchanges, wallets, marketplaces. All of these different types of products that we've put on top of the network are to encourage young entrepreneurs in India to build on us so they can make money. This is what it's all about.
Amazing. I think this is something that is worth talking about, especially in the developers community. And we can definitely put the word out for this session. They can come and tune in and see what you have to say about the benefits that they can incur through this program. I think also one of the things is that if you would see that a lot of blockchains have a very robust community activity, even the ones that are built out of India, not just crypto exchanges, but also any project. We have a vibrant community across channels, and
Yeah.
community engagement is a big part of our activities. We pay a lot of attention to that because we feel not just ideas, but the whole talk a whole concept of spreading the word about blockchain, educating people across cities and all of that, that all comes from the community. So it's like a team of people who are very invested in a particular project. And I'm sure it's the same for Venom as well. But can you highlight maybe top 2 to 3 activities that um, the network does for the community members in order to keep them, encouraged and engaged for, sustaining the whole momentum?
Yeah, I've noticed in India itself, the engagement in crypto is quite
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
The, the politics behind it have been very turbulent. You've had, like 2 years ago, there was this draconian tax imposed of 30% on any crypto transactions. There was talk of banning the crypto industry. There were talks of debanking the crypto industry. It's been very turbulent. Yet in spite of that, the numbers, the data that I read is that it's growing and growing and growing. So it's quite amazing that the crypto community in India keeps going forward in spite of all of this turbulent background. Now,
Right.
I believe that things are going to work out in the end because I think the government will listen and see what the public are doing, and they'll say, let's not go against the public,
Yeah.
let's go with them. I mean,
Fingers
like,
crossed. Yeah.
let's be a team player. I went to a very nice posh private school when I was a kid, and I played a lot of cricket. So I understand the importance of being a team player. I was a wicketkeeper at the time, and that was that's a lot of fun. So maybe if I come to your country, you'll invite me out and play a game of cricket.
I think we should definitely do that. The entire WazirX community should organize a cricket match, and we'd love to have you there.
Yes.
All right. So moving on to the next question. Okay, this is a bit of a fun question, and you can
Mm-hmm.
maybe choose to not talk about Venom, maybe just share general information. But in terms of any interactions that you have with technology on a day-to-day basis, what is that one thing that you would solve with blockchain, which gives you tangible results, maybe like in a day or maybe in a matter of hours? and you would want to actually have more swiftness, more security in that. Maybe not banking, because we already talked about transactions and all of that, but something else that is based on tech and also something that you would use on a day-to-day basis.
One thing, one thing, okay, not apart from banking, believe would be the financialization of illiquid assets
Okay.
that are staring us in the face today. There are a lot of poor countries, not just India or Pakistan or Bangladesh, but also Africa, where they have resources. You have rice fields, you have plantations of tea, you have gold and diamonds in the ground that are unrealized. And these are assets that are very difficult to financialize because the country has a particular rating on the Standard and Poor's index.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of financial intermediaries that have to come in to invest. And that creates billions of dollars of layers of muddied water before it actually happens. These assets can be financialized by tokenization on the blockchain. And so it can be transparently made available to anybody, anywhere. And this would lift a lot of countries that are in poverty out of poverty very, very quickly. And I believe that's the one thing that I would dream to realize right now, because it's something that can be done immediately. We started some conversations in certain countries, and I know that it's possible. All you need is you tokenize it, you put it on the blockchain, it becomes immutable and transparent. Then you have a third-party auditor that comes from a credible institution and says, yes, those accounts are correct. And then
Right.
the investment community from anywhere in the world can participate peer-to-peer.
Uh-huh. I think that's actually pretty interesting. I have never heard this aspect before. I'm sure a lot of people have talked about RWA tokenization, but the fact that there is so many unrealized assets that are still there and people have no record of is actually super important, I think, for not just the countries but actually for global reserves as well. So that's an interesting point. And this has been fun. Why don't you talk a little bit about some closing thoughts about Venom? Any upcoming, announcements that you want to tell the community, tell the listeners who are tuning in right now, that they can benefit from if they are token holders or whatever.
I think the most important piece of information for people listening to this interview is that the work that we're doing doesn't always appear in the public face. We do a lot of work in the background because we have a particular strategy and we don't want to move too fast. This is not just like an overnight game. We are in this for the long term. And a lot of the moves we make have significant runway ahead. And those components take particular time to put into place. So let's talk about listings. Now we're in India. We have a strategy to get listed on multiple other countries. So once we get a footprint globally, we'll be able to then start doing business in these particular markets that we're not present. And we're doing things in a slow but steady fashion. But I think the biggest overriding message is that because of this mesh network technology that I mentioned earlier, we can drop blockchain cells into different territories very, very quickly. And when we start doing that, and then they start interoperating and intercommunicating, it's going to be gradually and then suddenly. And the value that we give to the people on the network where they start making money on transactions, and this is what it's all about, this is going to accrue back to the business plan, which is to the Venom token. And the Venom token will start to rise and it will start to gain in value. And this is going to be my message to Venom holders or Venom potential holders. Stay tuned, watch this space. Things are moving in the right way, gradually, but then suddenly.
Thank you so much, Christopher. And on that note, Venom is listed on WazirX. I'm sure you all have read the news by now. So, yeah, make sure you check it out. Any difficulties, you can contact our support team. But make sure you also sort of listen to Christopher's interview once again in order to understand the nuances of Venom and everything that comes with the network that he's building and the community that he has created. I think it was amazing having you. You simplified the whole concept so well. You spoke about things and which it's right there in front of our eyes, but we would not have addressed it ideally. But I think having this chat with you was really insightful that way. Thanks so much for agreeing to do this once again. And thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope to have you again very soon and before the cricket match as well. And congratulations on Venom and all the best for Venom's future. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for your time today. It was such a pleasure. Have a
Thank you.
great weekend.